Hey guys, this is Birdie and welcome back to my channel. This is Clown Cows. If anyone knows about health problems or addiction, abandonment, neglect, trauma, specifically childhood trauma, it's Amber Reid. I imagine she's probably been sickly her entire life from all of the above. But I believe that many of her ailments are either directly or indirectly related to her weight, and Amber has been obese her entire life. Even pictures of her appearing to be around 2 years old, she looked obese already. I speculate that it's possible her parents wanted to occupy her while they indulged in their substances of choice. So turning on the telly and throwing young Amber a few cheeseburgers and a few large fries is probably something that happened often. I believe Amber was probably addicted to food long before she entered into foster care. And I think that because of things Amber and her mother Christine have said, one of those things being that Amber said her dad would buy everything off the McDonald's menu, and even the mother saying Amber was 4 years old in a crib sucking on a bottle of milk that was, in my mind, no doubt whole milk. I think food has always been used as a means to occupy and placate Amber. I'll even go as far as saying that I think food was not only Amber's babysitter, it was probably given to her as a reward as well. Fast forward 600 plus pounds later. Amber has said she's got lymphedema and lipedema, gallstones, high blood pressure, kidney stones, liver problems, just a whole slew of ailments. But today, I want to take a gander specifically at what the known causes are for developing obesity-induced lymphedema. I want to talk about addictions and the toll that it plays on one's quality of life. And I want to express the parallel I see between Amber's mother, Christine, and Amber. Let's begin, though, by discussing what lifestyle choices are known to contribute to the likelihood of developing obesity-induced lymphedema. Lymphedema comes in a few different types, or it arises due to a few different causes. Number one is that lymphedema can be genetic. Someone can genetically inherit the likelihood of developing lymphedema, as it is more common in those who have a direct family member with it, whether it's a mother, father, or sister, brother. It does have genetic elements, at least some types do. It can also be linked to certain aggressive forms of cancer treatments that damage the lymphatic system. A third type of lymphedema is called OIL, obesity-induced lymphedema. Since Amber has the unfortunate and extremely rare circumstance of lymphedema in both legs, as well as on her stomach, both sides, it's on her back, it's on her hips, and she has this large growth above her derriere. And since it has appeared with her weight gain, which is evident by looking back at her photos and videos from her younger years, where her legs were still very large but still had the basic look or semblance of legs, I don't think I'm being unreasonable to speculate that Amber's lymphedema is obesity-induced. There's an absolute ton of literature and medical research, much documented in peer-reviewed medical journals, that discuss the direct link and correlation between the presence of obesity and supermorbid obesity and lymphedema, especially when the lymphedema is present on multiple areas of the body, which is rare, as that means that there's widespread lymphatic damage. If I'm going to be blunt about it, I believe Amberlynn Reid caused her lymphatic system to stop working due to her food addiction. Like anyone with active addiction, Amber's life revolves around her substance of choice. She's a drug addict, but her drug of choice is food. Let's look at what a drug is, because I know that statement may have been baffling to some of you. A drug is a substance that causes a measurable physiological effect. So now think about that. And just watch Amber as she dances and gets giddy, her eyes rolling to the back of her head. And watch how she gyrates and starts smacking her lips and licking her lips just by being within the vicinity of food, any food, just by her knowing that food is on its way. She is a drug addict. It's just that her drug happens to be food. Think about people who are addicted to cigarettes, for example. Over time, cigarette smoking can lead to emphysema, or COPD, or wheezing, coughing, certain types of cancers, and the person may become disabled because of the damage the cigarettes did to that person's body. Now let's think about that and let's apply it to Amber and her addiction. The food has caused her body to literally, physically morph. Her legs have become unrecognizable, with Amber calling them tree trunks at one time and proclaiming that no matter what, they'd never look like what she called normal again.
Me built like a 1x2 jumper plate. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the super chat, and I probably am.
She has fatty deposits on her entire body. Fat upon fat upon fat, collecting in layers, lumps, and growths because it's run out of room for placement. She breathes so heavily due to her weight. She's barely mobile. She wears a 6, 7, or 8X dress as shirts, and she sits around nude from the waist down, as we've seen on her live streams, presumably due to her hygiene problems and maybe bladder control issues that her weight has caused her. She cannot fit into most medical machines. She cannot climb stairs. She can't clean herself. Amber has had cancer that she blamed on her weight. And we know that she gets constant recurring cellulitis. That is due to her weight. And now she has high blood pressure so severe she requires a prescription medication. This is on top of the kidney stones and high liver enzymes, the high D-dimer, and a slew of other health problems, some of which could be life-threatening over time. And all of this is caused by her super morbid obesity, which she has caused herself because she chooses to eat thousands and thousands and thousands of calories per day. She can blame it on TikTok. She can say it's because she has to eat the way she does for her gallbladder. That's all complete bullshit. It's a bold-faced lie that she tells herself so she can justify further disabling herself. It's all in the name of that next heaping bite of ultra-processed crap on a fork that she has trained her mind and her body to live for. I don't feel sorry for her, though. Maybe I should. I mean, I understand trauma, and I understand hardship. I've lived an unbelievable life, and because of that, I've experienced situations and circumstances that are unusual for one person to experience. But those experiences, the good, the bad, and the unbelievable, have exposed me to outrageous things that have enabled me to understand people. And I understand Amber. I get that her childhood sucked. It absolutely sucked, and her parents failed her horribly. It broke her. Psychologically, she is ruined. She's broken, and she is irreparable. She'll never be the same. She'll never be what she could have been. Mentally, she is unhinged. Nothing more than a raging lunatic just waiting to explode on the next person desperate enough to claim her with all of her problems. And intellectually, well, she just isn't. I saw the videos that Amber has uploaded over the past 2 or 3 days, and I know the rest of you have as well. I don't know about you, but I was shocked. I know she's still using the blurring filter because she has no pores, and the wart on the side of her nose almost vanishes. And I'm thinking that she's still using those slimming filters because we've seen her on camera versus when she's caught out in the wild and recently at bingo. And the unfiltered photos that onlookers post make Amber look even fatter than the videos that she posts of herself. I want to be fair about it though and say that I do think this is normal in a sense. When we show ourselves online, maybe we want to show our good side or the flattering angle. And if strangers snap a photo of us, it may not look as good. But we've seen Amber on surveillance videos as well, leaving the store, and we've all noticed that she is becoming her worst nightmare. Amber is becoming the opposite of what she tries to convince this side of the internet of. She's the ultra-fat feedie that's becoming larger than life. She's becoming the nearly middle-aged woman who thinks people are quote-unquote obsessed with her. But in reality, we're not obsessed at all. We are shocked. We are perplexed. We are watching a woman eat herself into the grave while being so fat she cannot fit within the camera frame even when she's halfway across the room. But she, in between heavy gasps for breath, tries to convince us that she's just a small, dainty girl living her best life, while she has disabled herself for another bite. Her love of food is stronger than her love of self, and her love of her pets that are neglected and suffering due to her selfish choice to eat herself into immobility. Just one motion sickness waddle after another while she tries to make her way back to the door for her next delivery. Her lymphedema sometimes hanging out of the cuff of her pants around what would be her ankle, as she tugs on her dress, trying to pull it over the growth that has stationed itself above what would be her derriere. And the legs that she said she hates so much? Why does she keep doing this to herself? If she hates the life she's living so much, why does she keep making it worse for herself? She has done this to herself, and she will still continue to do this every single day that she has left. Amber is an addict who gave herself a long list of health problems, including the most severe obesity-induced lymphedema that is possible to have, because she chooses food over life. This is where I think I see the parallel between Christine, who is Amber's mother, and Amber. If we really think about it, Christine's substances of choice, her addiction, caused her to choose anything and everything over her 4 children. She lost them all. She gave them up so that she could indulge herself in what she loved the most. She didn't care about the damage that it was doing, at least not enough to make the changes when it mattered, where she could have kept her children, where her children could have grown up and lived a happy life, where they could have become respectable and respected pillars within the community. That's not what happened, though. And when I look at Amber, I understand that she doesn't have any children, and she never will. But she does have pets. She has animals who depend on her the same way that children would. They depend on her for their most basic needs to be met, to be fed, to be loved, to be held, to be taken outside on walks, to be played with. They depend on Amber for emotional and psychological and mental and physical care. And because of Amber's addiction, just as her mother gave up her children and their basic needs being met for her own addiction, it is my personal opinion that Amber has done the same thing with her pets. She has chosen her addiction over those animals because she's not meeting their basic needs. Pee pads all over the floor that she claims she has to use because, quote unquote, her dog is an elderly dog. Amber, you've had those pee pads for years. Beck told us about the pee pads from 5, 6 years ago. Your dog was not an elderly dog then, and truth be told, your dog is not an elderly dog now. Isn't Twinkie like 8 years old and she's a Chihuahua? If I'm not mistaken, they're not considered elderly till they're like 10 or 11 years old. So your dog's not even elderly, Amber. But you still have pee pads everywhere because you've eaten yourself into a physical immobility that prevents you from taking care of your animals. So you have abandoned their needs the same way your mother abandoned yours. Why have you chosen to repeat the cycle? The only difference is your mother did it with a different substance than what you've chosen for yourself. Amber thinks that she's so smart with her Duper's Delight, sitting in front of the camera with her filters on. But the reality is, we're all still going to be here when she's not. You know, she pretends to have health anxiety, and that's a real thing. I absolutely understand people who have true anxieties when it comes to their health. I had anxieties about health, particularly when I had a baby many years ago, diagnosed with cancer on his second birthday. I had a lot of health anxieties after that. It was a very, very traumatic experience, a very traumatic time in my life that I don't often talk about. But I do want to say that I understand having true anxieties when it comes to your health or the health of a loved one. Amber claims to have that, but then we watch her eat herself into new illnesses and new diseases, laughing about it, saying that she's proud of herself because she could have done so much worse. I don't feel sorry for her one iota. For me, it's like watching the fool put on the hat and dance around for the crowd. The fool thinking that we're all laughing and watching out of obsession. But in reality, we're not laughing at all. It's just our jaws are dropped at the stupidity that makes up Amberlynn Reid. From her lymphedema that I believe she caused herself, her gallbladder problems that I believe are linked to her weight, her immobility issues, her hygiene issues, her issues with not being able to take proper care of her responsibilities, her home, her animals, the pee pads, the filth that we've seen on her computer indicating that she just sits around all day, probably watching reaction channels and eating thousands and thousands of calories as she sits there. She has caused herself liver problems and high blood pressure. Every single bit of this is either directly or indirectly related to her obesity. She chooses this because she continues to choose the addiction over life. And so I don't and I won't feel sorry for her. I do feel for those who have faced addiction and they have faced the struggles, and maybe they didn't have the support system that they needed. Maybe they didn't have the finances to check themselves into a rehabilitation facility. Maybe their struggle was a lot harder because they didn't have people there to help them when they needed it. But that is not Amberlynn Reid's situation. Amber has every opportunity and every chance to change her life. And I admit, the lymphedema that she's got, she's never going to be able to fix that. She's right. Her legs are never going to be small. She's never going to wear stilettos. She's talked about that before. She's never going to live that life. Her legs will never be cured of what she has done to them. But I don't feel sorry for her because she continues to do it. And then she continues to mock others for their health issues, for their struggles, for their insecurities. She is a vile, wretched excuse of a woman. And I don't feel sorry for her one bit, but let me know if you do. Maybe you do feel sorry for Amber. Maybe you do think that because of the lot she was handed in life, she didn't have much of a choice. Maybe you feel like a lot of her opportunities were taken from her when her childhood was taken from her. And although I do recognize her trauma and her struggles and how she was broken as a very, very young kid, and I feel awful about that, she still has responsibilities and she still has obligations as an adult that she has not met, that she has not tried to improve upon. And for that, I'll never feel sorry for her. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you think, your honest opinions about it all. Do you think she caused herself to have the lymphedema? Do you think it's obesity-induced? Do you think it's genetic? What do you think could have caused it if it's not due to her weight? Maybe you have lymphedema and maybe you have a very personal perspective on it. Let me know about that as well. I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions down below. I will be back soon. I'm still out of state, but I will be heading back tomorrow to my place, my farm where I live. and I will start uploading regularly again at that time. But I just wanted to do this video today because it was something that, after seeing these pictures of Amber, these little short videos, the TikToks and stuff that she's recently uploaded, I realized that her lymphedema, in my opinion, is getting larger and larger and more out of control. And so I wanted to make this video expressing how I do believe she is 100% doing this to herself. Let me know what you think, and I hope you all have a great day. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye for now.